Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. We are doing a morning range test for the DJI Flip today. Going to be using the Fly More combo with the RC2 controller with the screen on it. And I got the combo with 3 batteries. You may have seen in my other several videos. Go ahead and check those out if you want to see kind of the unboxing setup, full-on flight test. But this is going to be the range test. So we're going to take this thing out here, fly it that way as far as possible and see how far it goes, and hopefully we can get back. Don't forget, I am giving away one of these, so if you want to enter the drawing, there's only a few days left by the time you see this video to enter, and I will have the link down below where you can win one directly from me. I'm gonna have a personal note in there for you, signed. Don't forget to enter that giveaway because it is just about done. And you're gonna get the same thing, the Fly More combo and ND filter set for the Flip. Anyway, let's get started with the Flip range test. Full disclosure, I was actually flying it in my house yesterday to try to get a dart out of the ceiling, you know, use the propellers to blow the air, my son's little foam dart for one of his little guns. And actually it sucked up to the ceiling and fell from like 30 feet at the very top of my ceiling and broke the front LiDAR lens cover. There's a sensor in here, but it seems to be working fine. But as you can see, there's a crack here. It just fell and it just like came down right on this stone tile next to the fireplace. But it seems to work fine. So hopefully that's all good for this range test. We'll start off maybe in sport and then we'll do another one in normal mode. Sport was actually better for the Neo. Remember that little Neo? That thing went further in sport. So we're gonna try that same kind of test. I'm not gonna put on a tracker on this one. I just want to see how far we can get with its own weight, and I will take the risk. But I usually have one of those little Bluetooth trackers I put on for the larger drones. All right, I think we're good to go. Let's get this thing up and start flying. Charged these batteries up yesterday. Let's see how long they last. Just letting it get a few satellites really quick. Come on, satellites.
Approached edge of altitude zone.
Okay, I'm burning 1% just to get a few satellites. All right, let's launch, guys. We're just gonna go ahead and do maybe a manual launch for this one. So both sticks down and in. And immediately gonna fly right towards that gap there, you see it? So we're gonna do that. And a couple things I wanna do right away before we go into sport mode is I want to go into the options, turn off the sensors, maybe give us a little more power. Turn off that front sensor, and then we're gonna switch right into sport on the fly. I'll have the screen up so you can see what's happening. And so in sport mode, as you can see, we went from something like 15 miles per hour up to about 26. And I'm just gonna kind of stay low for this one. This drone isn't too noisy, but you know, it could bother some people. I mean, there's a few of my neighbors that I'm kind of flying in between, but it's not that loud. It's not as loud as the Neo. It's a lower pitch. It's not as quiet as, you know, like the Air or the Mini drones. It's got a little bit of a higher pitch. So it's right in between the Neo and the like the Mini 4 type of sound. Anyway, here we go, guys. I'm adjusting the gimbal a little bit down. I know a lot of you like this kind of like, you know, 45-degree angle down about there so you can see some of the ground and stuff and also see the sky. So we're just shooting straight for that gap there because I don't want to get too high. And if I go through that gap, I'll be able to stay a little lower and still have my line of sight connection. So we're just gonna do a nice, easy range test. Remember that we're in sport mode. Let's go over some of the stuff on the screen. We have just our regular camera here going. We have our compass up. You can see the wind looks like it's coming from the southwest. You see the compass there. There's that blue line, and you can kind of see the tilt of that blue layer. And that just lets you know which way the drone is tilting, kind of like an aircraft compass would. So you have your horizon line there. And so that's where, in this area of the Southwest, that's how the wind usually blows in this area, is just always coming from that direction, southwest. So we'll probably have maybe a little bit of tailwind on our way back, which will be good. So we're just passing about a mile. Remember, 1 mile is 5,280 feet. I will have the milestones up as usual, as I usually do. And I'm just, pointing the controller antennas perpendicular to exactly where the craft is. And you can also look at that compass on the bottom left. Let me pick it up just a little bit. As you can see, the height there, we're just about 100 feet almost above our launch altitude. So I had to climb a little bit to get over this mountain. Okay. Remember, we're in sport mode. What I was saying is, on the bottom left, you see that compass. A lot of you guys already know this, but if you don't, this is a great way to know if you're pointing in the right direction of your craft. So you see that yellow H there on the bottom left compass area. That's you, the pilot. And then if you turn, I'm going to turn left. You see that green arrow? Now it's kind of moving and pointing more towards the craft. So it doesn't seem perfectly accurate because I know I'm pointing in the exact direction of the flip, but it looks like it's pointing a little to the right. But I know that I'm in the right direction, so it might be a little skewed. It's kind of always been like that, in my opinion. But as long as you're in the right direction, then you look up to your top right and you see that RC 5-bar signal. We still have maximum signal. Might drop a little bit. Whew, let's pick it up. Remember, we don't have any sensors on to avoid obstacles. And this one won't avoid obstacles. It'll just stop. The flip doesn't have any bypass, okay? It'll just stop if you have that on, which it's off. I remember I turned it off, so. And it's also off in sport mode. Cine mode and normal mode, it will stay on unless you manually turn those sensors off. It should come on in return to home. If it's in its auto return to home, it should turn those sensors back on so it doesn't hit a tree or something. But we're going to see. We're going to see how far we can get. We're at 68% power. It says we have about 9 minutes more of flight time. Now it just looks like it's totally dead out there. Maybe a slight breeze from the southwest, because you see that compass now, it's almost perfectly level, just about. Flying along the road here. I'll pick it up a little bit. Still pegged at 5 bars. Wow. That's great for being this low and kind of going over the crest of a mountain. So this OcuSync 4 technology just does not disappoint, man. Especially with, like, clear line of sight kind of stuff like this. So I've just been pegged straight forward in sport. I think we're just passing 2 miles now. Oh, let's check out the sky. Not a cloud in the sky. Look at this. Oh, the highest I can go is 20 degree, and then it rechecks itself down to 13. Did you see that? Whew, we're going to be flying over the road just for a second. 61%. So, gosh, how far do I want to push this thing? We're approaching about 2.5 miles away. This is incredible. I'm over the mountain and I still have perfectly full.
Battery level is low.
Woo.
Aircraft will return to the home point in 10 seconds.
Just canceled that. So, pushing it a little bit, risking it here.
Low battery. Return to home promptly.
So that's going to warn you. I think I'm going to go to 50%. And then just turn right around, okay? So, since I think I have that slight tailwind on the way back, I think I'm just going to kind of turn around manually and just keep it kind of pegged and just fly back. We'll see if we can make it. This might be another nail biter, guys, but exciting nonetheless. I know I'm going over a few things, but since it's going to have higher battery going through over these things, I'm not too worried about it. Oh, are we going to make 3 miles with this little flip? Almost, I think. All right, here we go. Turning around right at 50. Go. Turning back around. Woo! We lost a little bit of signal there. Wow. Got a little choppy. Okay. And that's usually what happens with these drones. Did you see that signal almost go down to like 1 and it got choppy? And that's probably because I'm fairly low. Let's pick it up a bit. There we go. See how we got our signal back? All else fails, just go a little higher, guys, until you get your signal back. So I didn't even hit return to home. I just basically did a loop turn there. And the great thing about this AR stuff, let me press on this message, get that away. We know we're low battery. The great thing about this AR stuff you can turn off and on is if you do hit return to home, you have this green arrow that shows the path. And then you also have that home point. It remembers where it took off from. It plots a GPS point. Then it puts a graphic on the screen for you. So you can see that. So hopefully we can make it back. I am noticing that, see my horizon line on the compass there? Check it out. It's a little bit lower than going out. So that means the craft isn't tilting forward as hard and using as much power to come back because it's got a little bit of tailwind. So I think we might be okay. I mean, it's going to be variable winds out there in different areas in the mountains. But we may be all right, guys. Sport mode. So I think we just got about almost 3 miles. Again, I'll have those milestones up. And to tell you the truth, this seems like it's about the same as the Neo. I think the Neo was just about the same. And also the some of the other crafts that are similar to the Neo, like the Avata 1 and 2. I think the Avata 1 maybe went 2 miles, I believe, and then the Avata 3 went just about this far. So these kind of smaller craft, they're all doing about the same, except I remember the Mini 4 Pro could even go farther because that was more of a robust mini camera drone. So, but with these kind of like, these are meant to be, like vlogging selfie drones. And it's so great that we can do these multiple things with them, even though they're not like purposefully built to do this. I love how we can do this variety of things with them. You can use them as a regular flying camera drone if you want. You can use them as a selfie drone if you want. And so they're trying to fill the gap with all of these little uses you can do with them. I think that's great. I am hoping that they open this one up for goggle compatibility and motion controller compatibility like they did with the Neo. They haven't done that yet. And unfortunately, a little bit of a cautionary tale, guys, is I did contact my contact at DJI that sent this one for review, the Flip. And he said there wasn't a plan to make this one compatible with the goggles or Motion 3 controller, even though it's O4 technology as well. And I kind of shared my disappointment and I said, I've got a lot of guys on my channel, a lot of followers that say they would buy one of these if you guys open that compatibility up. So he said he'd share that with the engineers. So hopefully they can do that. I don't know. I think maybe the reason they possibly didn't want to do that is because, you kind of get that product cannibalizes other products if you make them all do the same kind of things. And I think that was possibly one of their reasons. Geez, are we going to make this 26%? I better go down a bit. We're going down a bit. I'm just talking away here and I'm just going to do a slow descension because the wind actually might be stronger up there, and I don't know which direction it might be blowing right now. It might be swirling in the morning here. It's just about 9 o'clock a.m. and right around 40, 45, maybe 50 degrees right now. Should be like a 60 to 70 degree day, but that's later on. By that time, the wind will have picked up. I tried to do this yesterday, but it was just so windy. I'm like, well, let's try it. Let's try it the next morning, because the mornings are usually really nice and calm. So this whole time, guys, gimbal's been working fine. We just had that little glitch when we turned around. I'm just going to record real quick in 4K 30, just so you can have a look at, you know, what this thing can do. I know it's eating a little bit of power, but I just got to do it just for a second. Do a bit of a recording. So I just panned all the way down, and what's cool about this one is it's not slowing down when I pan all the way down or up. You see that mile per hour? It's staying at 26.7 about, even when I go all the way down or up. Staying around 25, 24. I remember the Mini 4 Pro. Gosh, we're almost home. Look at this. Yes. 14% left. We're going to make it no problem. Coming on in. I'm going to stop right here for a second. Get my hat cam on so we can see this thing come in. Awesome. You know what we'll do, since we're back a little bit earlier and we have plenty of power left? I think I'm going to fly around till, oh shoot, let me stop recording. There we go. I'm going to fly around till 0%, and let's see what it does. Hey guys. Here we are, just controlling it. And let's just fly around. Turn it back into normal mode. So we have that, turn this front sensor back on.
Critically low battery warning.
Here we go. So see that up there, 10%? We are critically low, right at 10%. Oh, okay. Let me get up here. You see that? It's going to do a forced landing soon.
Landing.
I can still control it, although it's very slow. I'm just going to kind of hover right over the balcony area. Tilt this camera down. And let's see how long it can fly till it forces down. Good to know. Probably can do a little damage to the battery longevity, but I'm not too worried. Area under aircraft unsuitable, okay. So you see how I'm holding this thing up? If I let go, it's gonna slowly come down, but at least you can control it laterally, and you can still push it up until it's gets really low. Hopefully you can see that percentage there on the screen. It's at 5 right now. Let's just do this hover right here, and just keep an eye on the percentage. When it reaches a certain percentage, it's gonna force itself to come down. So maybe what'll be cool is, let me tilt the camera down. And that's another AR feature. You see that little, and I'm gonna go up slowly. Okay. 1%. See if we click on this, if it brightens up. Nope. That's just the difference in brightness on the roof. We're getting some shadow there. 0%, guys, look at that. I'm still holding up. I just want to see if this thing will maybe drop out of the sky. It shouldn't. But I just love testing these kinds of things, you know. A little to the left. It really should land soon. Once these batteries get to a certain percentage, which we can check right here. Check this out, guys. About. Whoa, where was our batteries? Geez, am I in the wrong place?
Low voltage.
Maybe it was safety. Whoa, a little laggy. There, battery info. Holy cow, we're 2.72 volts. We might be damaging this battery. But it's letting me hold it up. Oh my gosh. I might need to come down a bit, just in case it does drop out of the sky. So it looks like we're okay, that's a forced landing. I'm still holding it up. Wow. It's probably gonna shut off. Watch this. No? Oh yeah, it did. Okay. See how the screen went black and white. So it just shut itself off. And that's what's great about these things. That's what they do, is they know the battery is way too low. We might have damaged that. I need to get this on the charger right now. And that's why I lost the Mini 4 Pro, because it shut off when it landed out there in the wilderness, because I couldn't make it back. And then I couldn't use the Find My Drone feature. As you know, if it had power, I could have beeped and made a sound, but this is what they do. They just shut off when they're ultra low, just to save the battery from completely destroying itself. So that was great. I think we went almost 3 miles. I'm gonna get this on the charger, slap another battery on here, and let's do that same test in normal mode, guys, just to see the difference. All right, guys, flight number 2 in normal mode. Waiting for it to get a little satellites, and while we do that, let's turn these sensors off again. Remember, I turned them back on when we came back.
Approached edge of altitude zone.
All right, let's get going. Same kind of launch. And we're off.
Home point updated.
Woo! We got a home point updated after we launched. Oh well. So we're gonna fly out to the same spot, guys. You know, doing this as scientific as possible, trying to stay at about the same height, and we'll just do maybe the same amount of recording. Let's go a little bit higher. There we go. So, you know, nice easy range test. As you can see, we're going out at 17, 18 miles per hour, whereas we were going about 25 in sport. So it's going to take us longer to get there. But if maybe it's flying more efficiently, who knows? I do have a feeling that we are not going to get as far. I think we were 14 to 15,000 feet on our sport range test. We'll see how far we get on this one. So, just a nice relaxing range test. Beautiful day today. Let's get this camera back down. Remember that front lens is cracked. And honestly, this is a pretty durable craft, which I did crash several times in the flight test. So if you guys want to see how durable this thing is and what it can really do in like tracking situations, and I also took it in the single track trails in the forest here, make sure that you check out my flight test video, because I crashed it a few times. And then I remember I was saying I crashed it in my house up 30 feet up above the ceiling, down into the bricks. None of the arms are having any problems, so much more durable arm-wise than the Mini 4 Pro. Remember, the Mini 4 series had pretty weak arms. These are actually pretty robust. So anyway, here we go. I am noticing maybe a little bit of stutter in the controller video once in a while. I'm not sure if that's just maybe some interference around here or what, but same spot, flying the same way as I did before. So it shouldn't be much of a difference. And the reason why it's saying high altitude up there, guys, I don't think I mentioned this in the first sport test, is I'm up at 7,500 feet elevation. So the air is thinner out here. I'm not sure how it can tell. See that little glitch in the video? I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's just the processor, maybe, of the controller having trouble. I noticed when I came in, remember I was trying to check the battery voltage on that last test? Everything was really slow and laggy. So I think it's just the processing power of this controller as it heats up. Maybe it just gets, you know, a little slow. Because I didn't see this kind of stutter in the first test that I'm seeing in this one, in the video. Even though I have 5 bars on the RC. And that just means I have, 5 bars of control and video signal in that OcuSync 4 protocol it's using. So, just cruising right to the gap, same like we did before. 83%. We've gone a mile. Looking at the distance down there, we're at 5,500 feet. Whoa, we're going slow. We're going 10 miles per hour, so it must be running into a bit of wind up there. See, we went down to 10, now I'm going 17, 18. So the wind's just kind of swirling, apparently. Maybe I want to pick it up a little, so in case it's detecting the tops of the trees and with that bottom sensor, and that might be slowing it down. I doubt it, but just to be safe. Whoa. That was weird. Started swaying left and right for a second there. Interesting things going on. I'm just going to pull it a little to the right. So that must be some wind pushing it around. Unless it's getting some strange interference. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. My thumb was pegged full forward. I wasn't going left or right, so I don't know what that was. Must just be some wind swirling around up there. Maybe sport, since it was flying faster forward, couldn't really see the significance of the wind blowing it left or right, because it had more of a forward fast trajectory, But now that it's going, just about 10 mile per hour slower, maybe we can see that variance a little more. And pick it up a little bit. So just honestly, same exact route. I mean, maybe not exactly the same because I'm doing this manually, but whoa, it's blowing it to the left. See that ground movement? Yeah, it was going to the left a little. So it looks like maybe the breeze is coming up a bit out there. It's slowing it way down. Look at this, 9 miles per hour. Interesting. I do have the sensors off. We have plenty of satellites. Now it just picked up. Just really going like a 5 mile variable speed out there. Down to 9 again. Interesting. That's got to be from the wind. That's all I can think of. Ooh, let's skim this tree. See how much it's slowing down? What the heck? Yeah, look at that tree shaking there. There is some wind out there, guys. The wind's coming up, so that's got to be what it is. Well, we'll do what we can. That first test was great because there really was no wind whatsoever, just about. But looks like the wind might be picking up for this second test. That's okay. I think that first one was the proper one, what we needed. Remember how I was explaining the Neo went further in sport. So I think this is just going to be the case for this one because we're already at 67. Oh, you never know. I mean, we're, what, a mile and a half out, mile and 3/4. Never know. I might just be super efficient at this speed. I don't know. We just got to wait and see. So I know this is taking longer, guys. It's going to be a long test. Let's do kind of, I think we rotated up and down. Interesting. I rotated up and now we're going 17 miles per hour. I don't know if that's just a coincidence with the wind or what. Rotating down and look, now we're going 10. I don't know. Are those trees moving? Tried to tell. Anyway, doing what we can here. Yeah, now we're going to 17, 18. I must just be hitting pockets of wind. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Just little pockets. Some cars going over there on the road. Yeah, it looks like we're just about on track. Same line as the last flight, so that's good. It's quite interesting how it slows down so much. It's hard to tell with the tree movement exactly how much wind is there. We just got to look at our compass. Yeah, see how far it's tilted right? So that's kind of the indicator.
Battery level is low.
Canceling.
Aircraft will return to the home point in 10 seconds.
I'm going to go around this house. I don't want to be right up it, so I'm going to the left, jogging left a little. Okay, remember we...
Low battery. Return to home promptly.
So I'm going to at least do that again. And I don't think we're going to make it as far, guys, in normal mode. Possibly partially because of the wind. But I think you just cover more ground and it's efficient enough in sport. Because I remember seeing 14,000 something on the distance when we turned around in sport, and I'm only seeing not even 13 yet, and we're picking it up a little bit. We got a little bit of a RC signal hiccup, probably because of those power lines there. And we are going to turn around right at 50 again. Same exact thing. Yeah, I think we got about another 1,000 feet in sport. Whoa, we're down we went down to 6 miles per hour right there for a second. Okay, down to 50, turning around. Okay, and I'm going to go up a bit because look at that signal got kind of sketchy there. Whew, okay. Now check this out. This gives you a great indication of how hard the wind was blowing at it on the way out. Look at our mile per hour now. 17, almost 18, steady. You know, our compass is lower. Our horizon line is lower. That means it's fighting the wind less. It doesn't have to tilt itself forward as much. Almost have a flat horizon line. So we're getting a great rear wind, tailwind. I'm even tempted to just flip it into sport. What do you guys think? Flip her into sport, come back faster, and just ride that wind. Let's do it. We already know how far this can go in normal, at least in this situation with the wind. So I'm going to switch into sport on the fly. Coming up to 25, 26 miles per hour, almost 27. Yeah, hitting 27. Okay, nice. We're going to get back right quick, and we are going to ride that wind. And remember, the flip has, let's take that away again. The flip has, remember those duct guards and those propeller guards. So it's got a more of a surface area profile for wind to kind of influence it and create drag. So I would imagine it's really helping on the way back though. The drag it's negative on the way out, it's actually helping it on the way home because it's working as like a sail, like a wind sail. So pros and cons to everything. So we're coming back at 27 mile per hour in sport on the way back. And that just goes to show how on these little craft, sport it gets you out further, until you got to turn around. So good to know. I mean, that could be slightly controversial with the wind we were having. It looks like we might have had a little bit more wind on the second flight, like I was saying, but nothing's ever perfect. And this is just how it's working today. But I think we learned a bunch of stuff here. We learned that this one is definitely more susceptible to drag, and that can be a benefit and a negative depending on which direction you're going in the wind, just like any other craft. That first test, we brought it down to 0, that one battery, below 0, so that was great. Good to know what it does, how it reacts, if you do want to know how the thing flies and how long you can fly it until you really need to, until it forces itself to come down. And that's kind of the same for all of the crafts. I was surprised it brought those batteries down to like 2.7 volts. So this is a 2S battery, and it's bringing that voltage low. So I put it back on the charger and it's charging fine just before we did this test, this flight. So not too worried about that battery. But surprising that it let it drop below 3 volts before it force landed. So anyway, I think that's the only battery. I went ahead and marked it with like a red circle on the back of it, so I know which battery I took down that low, so I don't try to use it again for something like this, and I'm wondering why it might have not operated as well. So always good to, if you do something like that, mark your batteries, just so you know which one you brought down to 0 and stuff. Keep track of them. But it looks like we're doing good. I think we're right around the same spot we were at 27% when we came home last time in sport. So we are going to get home no problem, and that's the thing, is I probably could have pushed it more. But then, you take a risk because the wind was coming at it on the way out and we have a tailwind on the way home. So, I might have been able to get down to 45% on the way out and still made it home, no problem. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like when I lost my Mini 4 Pro, I never found it, guys, just to let you know. I know a lot of you keep asking, but I never did find that one. It's somewhere in the forest. What was I going to say? That influence of the wind is going to drastically change your going out and coming in ability. Just bringing it down here. So, yeah, look at this. We got 20% left and we're just about home. So honestly, geez, I could have probably gone like 35%. But you know what? Maybe not, because as this thing gets low in battery power, really low, it starts going slower as a precaution. So if I went down that low, I might have not made it back. I bet you if I would have went down to 40, I would have made it back. Anyway, that's for another day. Let's get back in normal mode, turn these sensors back on so I don't crash into my house. And it's as easy as that. And while we're here, let me show you You see how laggy that is? I think it's just this controller processor. Let's look at the battery again. So what are we at? We're at 17%, right? And check out the voltage. So 3.2 volts a piece. That's the total voltage on the right, 6.36 volts. Temperature of the battery, and how many times it's cycled. This has only been cycled twice. I didn't really do a 10 cycle like I usually do on these batteries. Sometimes I'll cycle them a bit more just to get their full effect. Some people say you can do that. Anyway, let's get this thing landed and do a pros and cons on that dual range test. This one's cool. As soon as you put your hand under it, even if you're controlling it with this, watch this.
Landing.
It will just land. It detects your hand and it will just land, even with the RC2 controller, which is pretty cool, pretty convenient. You know, like the other non-vlogging drones that DJI has, like the mini series or the Air series, you've got to pull down on that stick, but these ones detect your hand right away and will just land on it, which is really cool. All right, guys, so pros and cons. I can hear that wind coming up, guys. We got landed at the perfect time. I hear the wind zipping through these trees here. Anyways, let's talk about that dual range test. So I think the sport mode is the way to go in these small vlogging drones. The Neo, the Flip perform better in sport mode. You know, wind conditions might have influenced that a little bit. Normal mode, you have less of a tilt, and so you're getting more wind resistance, I guess, this way, and it's maybe hitting the front a little more. So when it's in sport mode, maybe it's the most aerodynamic. I don't know, something to think about. Even though we have a cracked sensor there, everything works perfectly. It still stops at obstacles. Just a fantastic little drone. I just really hope that they can enable compatibility with the DJI goggles and that Motion 3 controller. I think that would just make this thing so much more fun for those that want to try FPV, just like we did with the Neo. And once they do that, I will do that test, guys. I'll make a couple more videos. None of these arms broke, and all my crashes and tests, I mean, gosh, remember I was saying I crashed from 30 feet up in the house, right into bricks, and some of these folded closed. It was like this. When I picked it up off the ground, it hit this thing, it hit the brick by the fireplace, and then it fell on the ground, and it was like this. And I picked it up and I'm like, oh man, did I break an arm? But look, everything's working perfectly, no cracks anywhere. So they definitely have made these joints a lot stronger. I'm glad they did that, because this is a whole new, stronger design of arms. Anyway, guys, hope you like that. I mean, 2 range tests. It did actually, honestly, better than expected. I think we got just about 3 miles. Again, I'll have those up as we were flying. And remember, both times we got back at just about 20%. And that is going to 50% out with that tailwind coming back. So could have gone even further. Not a super nail biter on this one, but at least we took that first battery down to 0, learned what it does, just like I like to do with at least 1 battery on these things. Stay tuned for the next video, and don't forget, guys, you can win one of these. If you like this and you'd like your chance at winning one of you that enter this drawing will win this. It's the same thing I'm flying here in a brand new FlyMore combo with the 3 batteries, the multi-charger, the case, the RC2 controller with the screen on it, bunch of propellers, all that stuff that comes with the FlyMore combo with an added ND filter set. So be sure to check that down below the video in the description if you want your chance to win it. It's going to be ending very soon after this video is released, so make sure you get in and enter so you get your chance to win it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Lots more to come.